All right, you know we love talking to grassroots conservatives. We love putting them on TV. I love putting them on radio and SiriusXM Patriot. Take a look at this campaign video.
This is Roger Stone. The greatest problem in America today is not the screwball socialist Democrats who are seeking to destroy our country. It's the feckless, gutless, weak-kneed Republicans who refuse to fight them. That's why I'm supporting Luna Lopez for Congress. Luna Lopez is a woman of energy, courage, and commitment. And first and more importantly, she will always put Florida and America first. That's why I urge you to support Luna Lopez for Congress in the Republican primary.
I'm Luna Lopez, and I approve this message.
All right, joining us for the first time from the 5th Congressional District in Florida, Luna Lopez, thank you for joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
All right, so my first question, I have been doing this for a long time, and I always start with the same first question because after the Tea Party, which I think ended up for a lot of people being a letdown, the first question I always ask a new candidate is this: are you a vote to cut the spending? And I put it like this. After the Tea Party, we used to use this phrase, proposed spending. So Republicans said, well, if we spent $80 million on a program last year, but we proposed to spend $120 million this year, but now we're only going to spend $100 million, that's a $20 million budget cut. No, it's not. It's a $20 million increase. So are you a vote to cut the spending?
Absolutely. There's no play on words with that. We cannot handle any more spending.
Now, you live, look, I love the state of Florida. You're running in North Florida, the Jacksonville area. You have no state income tax. You got Gavin Newsom out in California saying, well, we're increasing freedom and liberty here. Move from Florida to California. I don't think anybody's buying that. Your state respects the Second Amendment. Your state has managed, like I said, no state income tax. And you're thriving down there right through the COVID lockdowns.
That's right. I like to call Governor DeSantis King Kong because he is one of those leaders that we have that always looks out for people, no matter how much pressure he is receiving from other leaders around the country. And he really listens to our voice. He does what's right for the greater good. We need more people in Congress that will follow in those footsteps and come with that same conviction.
I was reading through your campaign. You're running on a pro-Second Amendment, America First, constitutionalist platform. Why am I the first one talking to you? Shouldn't the mainstream media be excited to talk to you? They're always talking about representation and glass ceilings and women in power, yet it seems like I'm the one who's running out there to talk to Cassie Garcia or Laverne Spicer or whoever it is. I don't see ABC, NBC, CNN, or MSNBC talking to any of these candidates.
No, because they're part of the establishment too. You know, it's a big spider web of many different industries that enable the establishment to take power and take away our freedoms. And they would never have somebody like me on that's very much for limited government and constitutionalism, because that would wreck their entire plan that they've been, working towards for the last 50 years.
I think is also driving them crazy is a lot of the women that are running now, a lot of the women that are running as conservatives are also running on a pro-life, or what they say, anti-woman agenda. Well, it's kind of hard to call it anti-woman when you have a lot of women running on it.
That's right. I think women are more convicted now to protect women's rights, especially with what's going on in the transgender community, because this is a step backwards for women's rights. And it's something that we're not okay with. And more and more people every day, as I'm knocking on doors, Democrat or Republican, might I add, are not okay with this step back.
Are you getting any help from the Republican Party? Because that's another thing I noticed that, well, Mayra Flores did once she won, but a lot of the grassroots conservative candidates, many of whom are women, are not getting a lot of attention from Kevin McCarthy in the leadership.
No, of course not, especially when it's what they call red-on-red violence. That's big no-no. You don't challenge someone of the same party, but it's okay. I'm okay with it because that means that I will have no strings attached to me other than my constituents. Those will be the only ones pulling my strings. When you have, the war chest of the establishment on either side of the party line everything gets really tricky on how you're expected to vote and operate. And I like having those strings free of the establishment. So I'm okay with it. And honestly, when I win this, I will have earned my stripe doing this all by myself.
You know, North Florida is, especially the Jacksonville area, my God, I mean, it is so conservative up there. I would think by now that with the gas prices, the inflation, the lack of baby formula, the lack of feminine hygiene products, the open border, and everything else the Democrats are screwing up, this should be pretty easy.
Well, we do have a lot of people moving here from, Democrat areas who want to take advantage of our free and open lifestyle. And unfortunately, they are bringing a little bit of that mentality with them. And they're bringing their kids and it's getting into school. So even though we are very conservative, there is an attack on conservative values with our children in the schools. So that's something we must protect at all costs here in the state of Florida.
All right, I got it. I don't like talking about the demographics of a candidate. You know, like I do in a way brag that I've been speaking to a lot of the young female Hispanic candidates and some of the women that are running who are black. But I feel forced to because the media says, well, the Republican Party doesn't have representation and it doesn't have diversity and it doesn't make opportunities for women. And then I see a laundry list of candidates that aren't getting any attention. Lopez is your married name. I was reading on your bio. You have quite the background. Do you mind sharing that, a little bit of that with us?
I do. I'm 157. So my mother is legally, genetically, she's West South Asian. My father is Scottish Indian, fourth generation American. I don't like talking about race and demographics there, where we're kind of forced to do that at this point. But I will discuss it when it gives me the opportunity to show that your race does not hold you back from what you want to achieve as an American. And I fight for those values because my mother did not come here to have the American dream squandered. She came here and took advantage of a free and liberal, a system with liberty. I don't want to misuse the word liberal, and my father, as a white man, never focused on my race and never told me that I would have any achieving great things because my mother was black.
That's amazing. And you know what? You'd think that, some of the left-wing networks that are always talking about how Republicans are white supremacist, don't like brown people, want to lock the border because they don't like Hispanics or whatever it is, that when they see these candidates that are running, they go, well, that's an interesting story. Let's interview them. They actually want to pretend you're not there.
Oh, absolutely, because it goes against the narrative.